I've always had a love of 60s, 70s, 80s rock art, and I've always had an interest in space and technology. And so what I decided to do was to work towards producing solid work that took advantage of the optics of thick glass that would basically allow me to bring these two areas together. And that's where we are today. I'm basically producing landscapes that are not necessarily realistic. They're more surreal than realist. And they're really a melding of 60s, 70s sensibility, the 60s art scene, and 2001 Space Odyssey. That's really what's coming together. My name is Larry Cazes. I'm a full-time artist and I work in glass. I don't like to work in pastels. I like to work in bright neon-like colors. I had this concept. I wanted to make small self-contained worlds that you could hold in your hand and experience in your hand. I wasn't really looking to make something that was static, that sat on a pedestal or a shelf. It was not easy. One of the things that I've found throughout the years is that you can bring people together that have widely varying backgrounds, different political views, different religious views, and you could put a piece of art into their hands and there's a commonality there. Everybody can appreciate art from a given level. To me, art has always been something to pull people together, and again, I wanted to put something into somebody's hand that could be shared, you know, between people. And that's really another aspect of this round form. I didn't want it to just sit on a table. I wanted it to be hand shared, person to person. So that's where the sphere came from. The hands that I'm producing are just an extension of that. I've always liked to be at the base of the process. You know, I was always the guy that could take nothing and make something. That's an engineer. You know, an engineer takes restraints. You're given constraints on that job and you create something from it. So for me, it wasn't as fascinating to take commercially available glass color and put it into my art. I wanted to create my own. Now, by the process of fuming gold and silver metals is really a glass alchemy process where you're using these base metals to create color. And basically what we're doing with that is that I'm vaporizing gold and silver metals of various alloys, and I am depositing it on the glass and then using various techniques to pattern that, to use that as a raw product. It gives me the ability to create the shades and colors that I want, and I also have direct control over the transparency or the opacity of those colors as well, which is something that is difficult to achieve with glass color. This is something where you really have to put a lot of time and effort into learning it. There are a lot of things you have to do together. There's a lot of multitasking. And if you have to think about each of those processes that are going on at the same time, then it's cumbersome. All of this art is very much composed. I start with raw material. I start with a particular concept in mind of what I want to make. I fume the glass. I create patterns. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. It's really a unique process, and I mean, it's been an obsession for me for 8 years. I love doing it. There's nothing like it. You have to work with the ashes in a way that it works. So it's taken years to just figure out what are the best ways to work with the material. I think in most cultures and religions throughout the world, there's this commonality of either heaven or the equivalent of that, and an analogy towards the stars, towards outer space, towards the heavens. And you know, how many cultures look skyward? That's just a common theme. and it works so well. I always put planets in. I always try to make them reminiscent of galaxy or space scenes, and people are really open to that.